Hi there, welcome to Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, we are continuing in our color along in Eriy's fairy tale coloring book. We are working on this beautiful page, this Cinderella page here. And I have a few minutes, so I wanted to jump on to show you a little bit about what I'm going to do with the pumpkin here. And yeah, sorry, I have like just a little bit of time, so I wanted to hop on real quick. So I am going to be using my white Posca, and then I have this Ohuhu acrylic paint marker, which is in this nice light turquoise or aqua color. The only problem is this is not very opaque, so I'm going to go underneath with this Posca first on the lines, just around the outline of the carriage, and then I'm going to go on top with this guy. Just because it will, it won't cover the black lines by itself, but it'll definitely go on top of the white Posca. And I just really wanted that really pretty turquoise color in there. I didn't want the black lines on this. I did also go over the horse. I outlined the horse with a white Posca. So that is maybe some homework that you guys could do. I was sitting here trying to get the video uploaded, and I just kept wanting to play, and I just started playing with my mediums, and I was like, no, I have to stop. I have to record this. So I'm going to let that dry for a second. And then the other thing that I did is I am using a couple of color soft pencils, and I'm going to do around the outside of this in pink as well. So I have pink and grayed lavender. And basically all I'm doing is I'm putting a little bit of the grayed lavender in the corners, just like that. And then I'm covering over that with the pink and bringing that pink out into the center. And that's it. So I'm going to do that all the way around this frame. And that's just going to be another nice little part done. Yeah, really, I mean, it's just getting Cinderella done today, and then all of the fun little embellishments that I want to add in. I do want to try, we're going to attempt today. Notice the key word here is attempt. After I have colored all of this beautiful page in, I'm going to attempt to add a painted on kind of magical swirl thing, which you are more than welcome to not do and just, you know, watch me make a complete mess here. I will be taking a photo of this page before I add that in. But yeah, I just really wanted, and I'll post the picture that is kind of inspiring this, but I really wanted to add just this a little extra magical touch. So that's what I get for looking up inspiration pictures, huh? Okay, so yeah, so basically just switching back and forth between the grayed lavender and the pink all the way around. This grayed lavender is just like, it's a very light gray purple color, and then this is a super light pink. So if you don't have the color soft, you can definitely use something in similar colors. Okay, so now I've got this, I've done my Posca once, and now I'm going to use my Ohuhu paint pen, and I'm just going right over top of where I had the white Posca. And this will just kind of create a nice outline for this guy instead of just being in white. Okay. I'm going to turn this just so I get the right angle here. Okay. All right, so there's that. So when I come back, I will have all of this border done. I'm not going to do anything with the little dots in the center yet, because we're going to probably add either like a sparkle pot pen or maybe a little bit of stickles. Something sparkly is going to go on that part. But yeah, so I will do this off camera, and I will see you guys again here in a second. Okay, got the frame all done. I did add a little bit of extra to the horse's tail as well with my white Posca, and I just kind of drew up, like added the horse's tail going up a little bit more. I do want to add a little bit of shadow in here so that it looks like there's still strands. And then I added a little coming down too, and a few of these little swirlies, just because I wanted I wanted the horse's tail to be fancy. Okay. So I've pulled together some colors for the skin, and this is just colors from my Prismacolors because I just wanted to be safe, because I tried a couple other pencils, so I'll show you. I tried, I think, Color Soft pencils on this one, and then I did Spearer Farben on this one, and they all turned out okay, but I don't know. Something wasn't hitting right. So I'm just going to go with my Prismacolors and be safe. So I really like this one. And I'll put the image on screen. I just like the subtle shading that is on her face. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to start with my peach. So I have peach, light peach, pink, and, oops, I didn't grab it. And then I have my cream color somewhere. Well, shoot. I don't know what I've done with it. Hold on a second. All right, got my cream. And then I also have the dark purple pulled. That was a mouthful. Just in case I want to add some really dark shadows in here. So I'm going to start with my peach just in the areas where the shadows would be. So along the sides of the face and where the ears are here. Underneath the hair. And this is going to be just a simple face, like I'm not doing any crazy shading or anything. And then underneath her chin here, underneath the necklace, a little bit along the collarbones, and then a little bit along the line of her gown. And then on her arms where the sleeves overlap, and a little bit on the bottom. And then these fingers back here that are going to be in shadow. The same here, this part of her hand. Okay, and I might do just like a little bit underneath where a nose would be. And a little bit underneath her mouth here. But that's basically it. So I'm going to come down on the sides of the face a little farther. Okay, and then we're going to go back in with the light peach. And this is light pressure. I'm not pushing hard. Oops, I want to add a little bit right where the thumb and first finger meet. All right, I'm going to use the cream. And that's just going to finish off the center part of her face. Anywhere where there would be like a highlighted area, this is going to be this cream color. So along the top of the hand. And just blend it back into the cream and the peach that are on her. This is not blended out very well, so we're going to blend this little part out a little bit more. Okay, let's see, what else are we going to do? I am going to add a little bit of this purple. I want to make sure this is nice and sharp. Okay, so I've got this dark purple really sharp, and I'm just going to go right along the line here where her ear meets her cheek. And then a little bit underneath her hair to create like a shadow here. And then I'm just going to go right back over top of that with the peach. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of that underneath her chin too. I'm only adding this dark purple in areas where it's going to be definitely shadowed. I might have needed to use a different tone because this is looking a little red. So maybe we can add, I'm going to add in some of the grayed lavender just right over. Try to tone down that purple a little bit. And then I'm going to use the grayed lavender. Yeah, that's probably the color I should have reached for first. Just underneath the necklace right here, right along the collarbones. Yeah, I am going to do a little bit just along the neckline. And then I am going to add a little bit of purple here. This is that dark purple again. I'm going to blend that first with the grayed lavender. And then go over with peach. Let's see if that is a little bit better. It's going to look a little wonky until we finish her up anyway, so it always does. Skin always looks weird until you finish the whole portrait. Okay, and then I am going to use the grayed lavender a little bit on the fingers in the background. Okay, all right, so there is that. I do want to add in a really pretty blue for her eyes. All right, so I have Blue Lake, and I'm going to use that for her eyes. So I'm just going to go ahead and color this whole little area in. And then I'm going to use black to, let's see if we can do this without messing it up. So I'm just using my black pencil, and I'm going to go right over top of the lines that Eriy has drawn in and just darken those up a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then I can add in a little bit longer if I want to, and a couple other little there we go. That looks cute. Okay. I do want to darken her eyebrow up a little. I think I got a little bit of something on there. Darn it. Every time. Why can't I just leave things alone? All right, I have to find my eraser. Well, it's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to use my white Posca to add a highlight on her eye. We're going to do one here and one there. And then a little bit of, let's do Cool Gray 30. We're going to go right underneath this top lip. And then white. Make sure that white is clean. White right in there. Okay. And I don't really want to take the, I mean, I guess I could. Should we try it? Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to grab my, let's go with magenta. And I'm going to try to just add a little bit of color right on top of where the lines are for her lips. Whether or not it's going to show up is a whole nother thing, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit right over top. Yeah, it's not really visible, but still adds a little bit. Okay, I'm going to move this closer so you guys can see. So you can kind of see the little bit of pink that's on there. Okay. Now, we're going to move back to my Inktense. So I have my iris blue. I'm also going to be using, where is my color swatch? Okay, so I've got iris blue. I'm going to be using this deep blue color, I think, as well. And then possibly some of that peacock, but that's still up in the air. So we've got iris blue and we've got deep blue. The majority of her dress is going to be this iris blue color. It's going to be really light. And I also want to color her hair, go ahead and get her hair colored in. And I think, so if I look at my inspiration images, a lot of it is, it's a nice yellowy brown color. So I think if I go with the Sicilian yellow, which is this color here, then if I need to add like shading and stuff on top of that, I still will be able to do that. So let's go ahead and add her hair in first. So we're going to do the Sicilian yellow, and I'm just going to do a light layer across her hair, not pushing hard. Get that all edited in, and I'm going to activate that. That looks really pretty, actually. All right, and then, yeah, and then we're going to do this iris blue. So my thought process for this is I'm going to have the bodice and this main part of the dress be this iris blue, possibly like whitish on this, on the frill up here. And then I think this part is going to be that dark blue. So kind of like this other dress. I really like that one for some reason. So we'll see how we do. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this iris blue. I'm going to color I'm going to go ahead and color with this and activate that and put that on camera so you guys can see, and then we'll move on to the next part. So I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so there is that part done, and that is still drying, so we're gonna ignore that for a little bit. I think the next part I'm gonna do a mixture of the deep blue and the iris blue for this part. I don't want this to be super dark, but I do want it to be a little darker than the dress. So I'm going to, in the shadow areas, I'm gonna use this deep blue color, and then in the other areas, I'm gonna use this iris blue and try to do a little bit of blending. I think that I'm going to leave this as mostly white. So I think it's just this part that I'm going to do. So I'm going to add a little bit of this deep blue in the corners. And again, this is not hard pressure at all. Okay, and then I also might go ahead and add in some white, just to make sure that I, maintain that highlighted area in there. So I'm going to add a little bit of white there, just right through the center. There we go. Okay, let's see how that looks. Hopefully this looks okay, because it's down on the paper. So I'm going to turn my page, and I'm going to start in the middle and work my way towards the edge very carefully. And the nice thing about having a nice wet brush is you can bring that color out and kind of pounce that around, and it just kind of blends back outward. Okay, turning the page around again. Sorry for all the turning. That's what happens when you have Inktense, though. All right, and then we're going to push that color up that way. Pounce that back through. And I am going to pounce it through the center just a little bit. Blend that together there, and that'll be nice and light when it dries. So it'll be a nice shift from darker blue in the corners to that nice bright, lighter color. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on these other 4 sections, and I will go ahead and record that so you guys can see, but I'm going to speed it up. So I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so there we've got her dress so far. I think that I am going to go ahead and do this underskirt. This is going to be the same color as the blue dress. So I'm just going to do a light layer all over that. And then, yeah, I think I'm just going to color this whole thing blue, the lighter blue, and then maybe give a little bit of shadow into the areas where the layers kind of overlap. But then this whole thing is going to be blue down here, like over the top of the flowers and everything, because then maybe I'll go in with some white and change those up. So, yeah, but for now, it's all going to be blue. Alrighty, and I did just realize that down here is more ground, I guess, so I'm just going to color that in black with my black Prisma. All right, next little bits that I want to do. I want to do the shading on the white parts, so I'm going to use a couple of cool grays. I have cool gray 50 and 30 and my white. So I'm going to start with the 30 and see if I need to add any more. I might not need to. I'm just going to add this in the areas where like the pleats would be overlapping and anywhere where, you know what, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Hang on a second. Okay, so I hope that is close enough. So anywhere where the ruffle kind of curves up, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow right to that area. And then to either side of this center part here. And then I'm going to shade out this way. So like it looks like this center ruffle is in the front and then all the other ones are kind of behind the one next to it. I hope that makes sense. I might use, let me use my 70 instead of the 50, just so I can get a nice dark impression of that. So I want this right along the edge here. Oops, I went too far in that one. And this 70 is just reserved for the really dark shadows. Okay, and then I'm going to use the white. And then I might add in a little bit of this blue color. So I have this light cerulean blue, and I might just add a little bit of that at around her collar. Just a tiny bit right at the edge. And blend that out again with the white. I just want it to show, just to read a little bit blue. Okay. All right, that'll work there. Then we're going to do the same kind of thing on these bows. I want these bows to be white, so I'm going to use my 30 in the center part, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a bump right on the edge here. Okay, and then I'm going to add the 70 in the really dark areas, so right in the center of both of these. And again, go over with my white. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing for these pleats here and these pleats here, and I will speed that up so you guys can see, but I'm just going to, I'll do one side like here. It's going to be the same idea that I did with my collar here, so I'm just going to do that on these pleats. I'm going to speed that up a little bit so you can see some of it, and then we'll come back and it'll be done. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of shading to the dress with some pencils. So I have light cerulean blue pulled, I have China blue and Copenhagen blue. I'm not sure how many of these I'm actually going to use. I do want to start off with the light cerulean blue, and I'm just going to put that underneath these areas where they overlap. And this is a very light layer, and it's just going right underneath and just kind of fading. I might need to grab an even lighter blue. Let me see how this one will do. Just sharpen this guy. Hang on just a sec. All right, and then I'm gonna have to, yeah, I'm even gonna have to come out. Well, that's not quite the right color. Super fun times. This is experimenting with Erica. I experiment so you guys don't have to. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of this shadow color right in here. And then see if I can blend it out. Now this one is sky blue light. The other one was powder blue. This is sky blue light. And yeah, that's the right color. Let's see if I can go over this sky blue light. There we go. Okay, so I just got to sharpen my sky blue light now. Again, I'm using the light cerulean blue just underneath where things would be overlapping. So this is a very light layer. Okay, and then I'm going to use the sky blue light. Is that what it was? Yeah. Sky blue light to blend that out a little. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, and then the other places I need to add that shading are on the sleeves and the bodice, and then this underskirt too. So I'm gonna speed that up so you guys can see what I'm doing, but that it doesn't, you know, take a year to finish this whole thing on camera for you. So I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so I think that the last little thing I'm going to do on her dress before I add in like sparkly bits is I'm going to use this light cerulean blue again, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading to some of the embellishments that are hand drawn on her dress. So I'm going to do a little bit on the I kind of want it to be, you know, just to blend into the dress a bit, but I also want it to have a little bit of shading. So I'm going to add a few bits and pieces here and there, and then blend those out with my sky blue light again. So I will show you guys some of that, and I will talk to you again here in a second. All right, so my next decision is going to be how much sparkly we're going to put on here and in what form it's going to take. I think I'm going to use some metallic glittery watercolors because I have some in gold and some in silver colors. And I think that's what I'm going to use for these, for all of my fun embellishments. So yeah, oh wait, we got to do one more thing. I almost forgot her hair. Her hair. So I did pull some other Prismacolors. I have jasmine, bronze, and cream. And I'm going to start with the jasmine, and I'm just adding in some basic strands. Just like her hair is got the lines in it already, and I'm just adding a few more lines. I'm going to darken that up just a little bit in a couple spots. So we're going to darken it up here. And then, ooh, that's really dark. Oops. Lighten that up. Goodness, that is really dark. Maybe I need to erase that. So maybe don't use the bronze. Where's my eraser? But that's okay. See, it erases. We'll just use more of this jasmine. There we go. And then I'm going to go over all of that with the cream. And do the same thing up this way. I'm just going to create some strands, a little bit of texture so that it looks like hair instead of just a blob on her head, I guess. Okay, and then go over that with my cream. That blue in her hair right there is a little frustrating, but maybe we can lighten it up with some white. So I'm going to put some white Posca right in there. I'm going to give that a second to dry, and then I might be able to go back over that with my pencil. I should be able to go back over that with my pencil and make that look a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to grab my sparkly bits. I think like I said, I'm going to use some metallic watercolors, possibly a little bit of stickles, and yeah, and we'll be right back. Okie doke. So I am going to be using my Cosmic Shimmer watercolor set. We're going to go with this gold pearl, probably some of this silver luster and pearlescent colors as well. And this is what the palette looks like. So I'm just going to set this off to the side with my water. Boy, if you guys could see my desk right now, it is a mess. I got stuff everywhere. Okay, so we're going to, and I've got a couple of brushes. I've got a couple small brushes. This is a black velvet too, and I really love this one. And then this is just like a cheap Crafter's Choice little one, but we're going to see which one I like better. So the first thing I have to do is prime my watercolors. So I'm just going to get them nice and wet and hope that that doesn't take too long. So plan. This, all of the carriage wheels, the carriage window, the top part, the little embellishments, and then this part, that's all going to be in gold. And then I might switch to like a silver and gold gel pen for this part. And then her crown, I think I was going to do it gold, but I think I'm going to do it silver. Yeah, just a few little bits and bobs that I want to get colored in with those shinies. And then we'll come in and do the rest of this with some white Posca and probably gel pens and stuff too. So, all right, so here we go. So like I said, I'm using that gold pearl color from this watercolor set. And my brush is wet, but hopefully not too wet. And I'm just gonna apply this color right on this wheel here. And this might take 2 coats because I put too much water in. I really love this watercolor. And you probably could do this with a gel pen, anything like that. So this is probably going to be not a lot of talking for me. So what I might do is go ahead and speed this up just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. But this way you can enjoy some music instead of just nothingness. I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, my next step, I've got my gold done and that's drying. While that's drying, I'm going to try to keep my hand out of my work. And I've got some silver on the brush right now. Try to get this on this crown without getting it in her hair. I am not the best at painting, so if I have little mishaps here and there, then they just kind of stay there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add in some of the silver on the sides of the crown here. I was going to do it, all of the little pearl things in like this silver luster, but I think I might do that in the Stardust Jelly Roll pen that I have. I think that will be less of a headache for me and much, much quicker. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go through and do a little bit of a second coat on a couple of spots. And then I will talk to you guys again here in a second. Okay, so the metallic part is done enough. I did go over the lines a little bit here and there, so I can take a black marker and just clean that up. It's not a have to, it's just for my peace of mind, it it helps. But yeah, I'll probably clean that up a little bit. But so now here is where I wanted to add in some more little bits and bobs. I've got my Stardust clear jelly roll that I'm going to use. I have my silver sparkle pen, which I'm not sure I'm going to use that one. But first I am going to use some white Posca. So I am going to go around all of these little dots and some of the spots on her dress here, and then these like pearly things in the center, and I'm just going to get all of that covered with white. And then I'm going to speed that up so you guys can see, but it's basically, I'm just literally going over top with my Posca, and that's it. So I will talk to you guys again here in a second. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the outline of the ruffles with the white Posca as well, just to make sure that looks as white as it can be. So it's just going to be me going around and outlining each of the ruffles, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed that up too. All right, so the next thing I have is I have this Thule Art paint pen. It is a light blue color. I think it's close enough that I can use it to cover up the black lines on the blue. What is this? My goodness, why can't I think? Saddle blanket, maybe? I guess. But yeah, that's close enough in color that it's not gonna look too crazy. And then I'm also gonna use that on her dress a little bit. So on the edges where the black line is showing. So I'm gonna do this on her dress up here, on the sleeve, and then just the outline of her bodice too. So it's more of a muted blue, so it's not an exact match by any means, but it is nice to dull down those lines and not have it have to be bright white. All right, so here's the dress with all of that added on top. Was that all completely necessary? Probably not. I probably really didn't need to do that, but it's just me. I can start to do it and I can't stop, and yes. Okay, so I've got my gold Sparkle Pop and my silver Sparkle Pop, and I am going to do a little bit of coloring over here. I'm going to color these moon shapes in silver, and then the braided shape is going to be in gold, just so we can continue a little bit of this gold and silver this way. Really the only other silver that is on the page is on her head, her tiara, but not quite the same gold as I painted, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, and then I am going to add these little things are going to be silver down here. We're gonna do a little dot so it looks like they've been like sewn in or something. And then I'm gonna use my clear Stardust to go over top of the white sparkles that I have. Any white circle that I have put Posca on, I'm gonna use my silver Stardust pen, or my clear Stardust pen, to add some sparkle back to that spot. All right, another step. Goodness, this is, none of this is necessary, just so you know. You could just do the base layer of color and be done with it, and the page would be fine. But again, my brain is going into all of these different things that I want to do. So now I'm just going to add like a bunch of white dots in between all of these little sparkly bits on her sleeves and on the bottom of her dress. And they're not even really going to be visible. I'm just... like I said, I'm just doing it to kind of make myself feel better. I don't know. I want it to look like it's sparkly. And according to, you know, a lot of those inspiration images, the white dots are what do it. So that is why I am going in and just putting dots all over the place. Okay. And since it's such a light blue, like I said, it is going to be hard to see, but I just really want it's a little bit more visible on the sleeve here. Okay. All right. I think her dress is done. I think. No, I lied. I'm going to put a little bit of this clear Stardust in the center where I put the white on the flowers. Now she's done. Okay. All right, and I'm going to hold this up closer so you can hopefully see all of the little white spots on her. Okay, so dress is done. This outside edge, I think I'm going to do that in the silver so that we can tie in the silver a little bit. So I'm just going to really quickly go around this border with my silver sparkle pot pen, and in the centers, I'm just going to use my pen to fill in all these little dots. All right, now I am going to use, you guys probably think I'm insane. I am going to go ahead and try to do my, my magic trail, if that makes any sense. So if you look, I'll show you the, so it's this image, and again, I'm going to put it up on screen so you can see it. I really kind of love this little swoosh of magic going through, and so I kind of want to do that on her, and I'm nervous to do it because I feel like I might mess it up, but I've got some white paint off to the side here, and I've got a brush, and we're just gonna attempt to paint on a pretty magic-y magic. I'm just gonna, at first, I'm just gonna dry brush this paint right on. So I want to make sure that I have some paint on my brush, but I don't want too much. And I'm gonna attempt to keep that swoosh pattern. So I want, here we go. Nervous. Okay, so we're gonna go up from here and over this way. Okay, pick up some paint. And then up this way. yeah, I think I'm going to have that go in front of her hand. And then we're going to do, how much paint did I pick up? I don't want too much on this brush for right now. There we go. Okay, that's my magic swoosh, right? Okay. I'm going to do a little bit more white. Just another little line of it right here, right underneath this line. And this one's not going to be the full line. It's just going to be another little kind of accessory to the line. Okay. All right. Maybe one little more. Okay, so I've got a little bit more white paint on my brush, and this one is just going to go right along the top edge of this. There we go. All right. Well, that just about, I don't know, gave me a heart attack. I don't know what happened right then. But I hope that it's okay. All right, so now, oh boy, now I'm going to add in some blue paint pen. And I practiced a little bit with the colors. So this one is the lighter blue color. And this is just going to go, yeah, I'm just going to go right in this line. And if it skips, that's okay. Just pick it back up. Come on, paint pen. You got to work a little bit. Okay. And so I'm going to make this a little thicker, and it is scratching off. Oh boy. It is scratching off the paint that I have already put on. This is not what you guys come here for. You come here to learn how to do stuff, not how to screw things up. Okay, well, that's not going to work for me because it's very rude. So let's figure out what will work. Let's do some more. We're going to add in another swirl here, I think. So I'm just going to continue like this line is looping back behind here. And I'm just going to swirl this out this way and then that way. And I'm going to make these lines just a little bit bigger, thicker. Okay. And then we'll draw another line here. And then another line here. And then see if this will work yet. All right, we're going to attempt this lighter blue. Let's see if that'll work. That works a little bit. I don't think it likes the acrylic paint. I think that's the big problem. Okay. Problem solving. We're going to use my light cerulean blue, and I'm just going to color right over top of that blue line that I made. Just give it a little bit of extra. That's not going to work. Let's do, so I'm using a little bit of that china blue. Okay, there's a little bit of china blue thrown in here now too. That kind of works. All right, so now I'm not even paying attention to what the other, there we go. Okay. I don't love the way that that looks right now, so let's expand that. That's the nice thing about paint, is you can make it look bigger. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Then I need to kind of do like a couple little extra magic-y swirl things. All right, still playing, trying to get this to be somewhat magical looking. What do we think of that, guys? I'm gonna add in another little blue line here. Okay. A little bit of blue in this part right here. Maybe a little bit right here too. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take this china blue and I am going to make little like plus signs. So just flick up and down and then side to side. And I'm just going to pick a few spots to do that. I'm not going to do too many of these dark ones. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to draw in a couple of the lighter ones. Just a couple of those ones. And I got to do that on the white paint, and then I am going to draw in like little diamond shapes. Looks like little sparkly bits here and there. Okay, and now we're gonna go to town with the Posca and the silver, I think. The silver sparkle pop. Good no. This is magic-y, magic-ish, magic adjacent. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make those little plus signs and lots of dots, and we'll see how it goes. Well, come on, Posca. Hopefully this guy will cooperate. We're gonna do lots of dots. I'm just gonna go through and just start dotting. We're gonna do bigger dots, smaller dots. Magic sparkly things. Okay, I'm just going to keep working on this and speed this up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing, but it's just going to be a lot of dotting and going back through and playing and just trying to save this little bit because I decided I wanted magic on it. So I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, last little things that I'm gonna do. Good night. This is, I keep saying that, the last little thing, the next little thing. I'm gonna white out these sparkles around here, and then I'm gonna go over top of that with the silver sparkle pop pen so that it really pops. And then I think on the outside here, I've got another little paint pen that I want to try, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to do this last little bit, speed that up, and let you guys see that too. So I'll talk to you again here in a minute. All right, here we go. Really two little last things that we're gonna do. I am going to put some gold in the center of each of these flowers. So I'm just using my gold sparkle pop pen and adding gold to the center of the flowers. And then I'm gonna draw in some vines coming out of the flowers as well. And it's not gonna be a ton, but I do wanna have some in here. So I'm going to start with, I have 3 colors pulled. I have peacock green, true green, and spring green. And I'm going to start actually with my spring green. And I'm just going to, let's see. I don't want it to be super crazy, but I have, you know, this reference here. So I will post that on screen too for you guys. Just so you can kind of see what my thought process is. So I'm just going to, let's start, goodness. I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to use true green, and I'm just going to go behind like I've done before in other Eriy books, where I just add in an extra leaf behind the leaf that's already there. And we're going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and just do the line of the leaf there. And then I could, you know what, I'm going to sketch this in pencil just to see if I like it. Let me find a pencil that I can use. So let's just go like this really quick. Do I need that? Because if I do it here, then I'm going to have to do it coming out this way too. I guess that doesn't look bad, does it? Ugh. All right. And then this one will come out right here. Is that what it did? That'll work. That'll just kind of connect the whole thing here. And I'm going to make it a little thicker in areas, thinner in others. Make it thicker here. I'm going to add in some peacock green along the edge of this leaf. And then blend that back in with the true green. I don't know if I need this spring green. Let me just add a little bit in. All right, and then a little bit of darker on some of the vine edges. Okay, friends, I'm going to finish playing with this page, and then when we come back, I'll show you the finished. It'll be finished. All right. So I'll record a little bit of this and then just kind of let you play on your own for however you want to decorate your background. And yeah, and I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, my beautiful friends, this is what I ended up with. I went a little vine crazy. I used these same 3 colors through the whole thing. I used this true green as the main color for everything, and then I added a little bit of shading with the peacock green, a little bit of highlights with the spring green, but that's basically it. And then I did do a few little magic-y shapes with my light cerulean, so basically like, you know, little plus signs like I was doing before, but then I also did like these shapes where it's like a kind of like a little diamond with extended points. That's basically what I did. And then, yeah, so the last little thing that I noticed that I wanted to do is I forgot to give her some blush. So I'm going to use the pink that I had pulled out earlier and just do a really light layer of pink. And it's not going to be super blushy. I just wanted some color on her cheeks. And I think that we are done. So I know this was a super long second half of the video. And I know that I probably added a whole bunch of stuff that didn't need to be added, but it's just fun to do that sometimes. And I will let you know that I did hold myself back from even going around all of the leaves and the flowers with paint pens to tone that down. There was a whole thought process, and I was just like, nope, we're done. This is it. It looks good. So that is it for today. All of the supplies that I use will be listed in the description below. I really hope that you enjoyed watching that. I hope that, you know, this little magic-y experiment was as fun for you as it was for me. Yeah, and that's it. And if you guys have any questions or want to know a little bit more about my process of doing like the little leaves and vines, let me know in the comments below. I can do like a quick little shorts video, something like that, and post that up on the channel. So yes, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to tag me on Instagram if you do color along with me. I would love to see your page. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.